So I just finished listening to Vivica Fox's interview, where she admits that to this day, 50 Cent is the love of her life. I mean, this is after her having been divorced and relationship with multiple dudes. To this day, he is still the love of her life. And it had me thinking, this is why we as women cannot and should not compare our lives to what we see on television or what we see on social media, because those things are not real. And I'll explain. That's not to say, Vivica Fox and her relationship with 50 Cent, like, I don't know, the full details. I mean, they very well could have been in love. But so often, many of us women, we fall prey or fall victim to comparing our lives to what we see on screen. And let's just be honest. I've talked to many women, educated women, uneducated women, older women, younger women, who find themselves looking at a picture, getting triggered. You know what I mean? Looking at something and it's like, oh, that's so nice, that's so pretty. But in the back of their mind, they're like, man, I wish I had that. Man, I wish I had that house. Man, I wish I had that man. Man, I wish I had that car. Man, I wish I had that money. We've all been, most of us have experienced that. And we live in such a culture of comparison. And not only that, we live in such a culture that literally worships celebrity, to where that's like almost the primary thing people are focusing on, that it can be very difficult sometimes for us to be satisfied with our life and to be satisfied with what we have. And so when I was thinking about her story and I'm listening to her, and she has this mixture of regret and nostalgia, it's interesting because I'm like, okay, in her time, in her prime, and she was, dating 50 Cent, they were like the power couple. They were like, hashtag black love, hashtag family goals, hashtag relationship goals. Like, they were the it couple, I remember. And I'm thinking, how many women at that time were looking at them being like, man, I wish I was her. Man, I wish I had that life. Man, like, I wish I could be with a dude like that. Man, like, just loving that. How many people were? And this goes for, it's like fill in the blank. So many different celebrity couples. I've just literally lost count. And the reason I bring this up is because, again, it's so common for us to look at that and know, like, oh, that's cute. There's some movie stars or celebrities or whatever. But then we go back to our own everyday or average lives, and then we feel upset that we don't measure up. And I think this is partially why, we have ideas like, hypergamy or level up channels or different things where it's telling women, hey, secure the bag. Hey, woman, try to get the richest guy possible. And again, this isn't to say, I don't think there's anything wrong. If you're a woman and you prefer to be in a traditional setup, I don't think there's anything wrong with that per se. But I do think there's something wrong with us women getting in a situation where we actually now start to compare ourselves to what we see online or to what we see movie stars doing or just what we see influencers doing in general, because oftentimes that is a false reality. It's a false reality because we don't know what's going on behind closed doors. We don't see the conversations. We don't see, the arguments. We don't see the past due bills. Okay. We don't see the black eyes. We don't see the binging and the purging. Okay, we don't see the full story. And so it's very important. It's extremely important that we do not look to social media or really any of these digital platforms for a sense of validation. It's very important. And most people, I think, know this on a conscious level, but the digital and social media, these things are literally created to be addicting. And so I think it's very important that we are extremely conscious of how these things are created to try to control our lives. And in some ways, actually, try to influence the way we feel about ourselves. And when it comes to a relationship, I think especially, ladies, don't seek validation from likes. Please do not seek validation from comments. Please do not seek validation from the amount of followers that you have or do not have. That is a trap waiting to happen. That is a trap, and you will never feel satisfied. You will never feel happy. And you want a prime example? Like I said, look at the celebrities. How many celebrity couples do we all know that we can name that have it all, look cute, look amazing, have the money, have the fame, have the looks, yada, yada, and they crash and burn. So especially do not think that what you need, is to have more money or to be more rich or to have more fame or to have a better guy. Like, don't think you need those things whatsoever to be happy with yourself, because you do not. Most of the time, those things are fake or they are false. We are hearing one side of the story. We're not hearing the entire story. And we are setting ourselves up for failure when we compare ourselves to what is not real. Or we compare ourselves to only one side, because most people don't like talking about their worst days on social media. There's a few crazy folks who will do that, but most people, we only want to share when we look good, when we look our best. That's the way the platform works, and that's where the comparison starts to come. And so I wanted to create this video because so many of us get trapped in this. Me being included. Like, I've been doing digital marketing for like over 7 years. I did it for a corporate space. And of course, doing it corporate space is different than not trying to do it yourself. Like, I've been doing it for myself now for just a few months. But either way, I have to remind myself, like, I know how marketing works. Like, I know the different way that they use terms, the different way they use words, hashtags, branding, colors, themes. Like, there's so much psychology that goes into portraying the perfect image or portraying the perfect video or portraying the perfect message. There is psychology that goes behind it. And if we are unaware, we will find ourselves getting trapped, and we will find ourselves comparing our real life to something that is fake and fantastical. And that is, again, a recipe for disaster, and it's a recipe for a lot of depression. And many people have mental illness. And so I wanted to create this video, right, or this audio, just as a way to remind you that, you know, if you find yourself going on social media or just even watching television or really any digital platform, and then you walk away feeling lesser about yourself or feeling, you know, less secure, question that. Make sure that you are not getting caught up in the matrix, or make sure you're not getting caught up in this lie that we were being told, that we have to measure up to these people or to these images that oftentimes don't lead to anything, that oftentimes lead to destruction. How many celebrity couples do we know that completely just crash and burn? How many celebrities, as beautiful as they are, they can't keep a relationship? Or they are on, antidepressants, or they are, fill in the blank. We can't find validation by how we look, and we cannot find validation just by trying to compare to an image, because it doesn't lead to anything. It's just chasing after the wind. It leads to nothing. If anything, it leads to just more and more discontentment. And I think that is why there's a lot of people who are upset or who find themselves unsatisfied with their life, because they're not living their real life. They're trying to live somebody else's life, or they're trying to measure up to something that isn't real. And you're never going to be satisfied that way. You're only going to be satisfied when you live your life, when you live out the life that God has created for you. And I wish and I hope and I encourage more people to do that. More people to live out the life that God has for them. Not try to live up the life that they see in front of them, modeled through another person, or try to live up to somebody else's expectation. But those are just my thoughts. What do you think? Is there a lot of pressure that many of us, especially women, feel to measure up to what we see on social media, to measure up to digital platforms, or not? Let me know. Let me know what you think. Leave your questions, comments, concerns in the comment section below. And thank you so much for listening if you've gotten this far. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and we will talk later.